Welcome to our deep dive. Today, we're tackling the LA wildfires.
Oh, wow.
It's just devastating with tens of thousands displaced.
It is.
At least 24 confirmed dead and 16 still missing as of January 14th.
Yeah,
Beyond the human toll, the destruction is immense.
it is.
Entire neighborhoods have been reduced to ash,
Right.
and the recovery process will be long and complex.
Yeah, very.
In times like these, we see a lot of support pouring in, especially from those who have the resources to help.
Right.
But today, we're going beyond the surface level of thoughts and prayers
Sure.
and looking at how celebrities are stepping up in really impactful ways.
Okay.
I was going through these sources and I was blown away by some of these efforts.
Really?
What's fascinating to me is the range of responses we're seeing.
Yeah.
It's not just about writing checks, though those are certainly important,
Hmm.
but we're also seeing celebrities using their platforms to raise awareness,
Right.
volunteering their time, and really getting involved on a personal level.
Yes.
And even those big donations, they're not just throwing money at the problem.
No.
It seems like a lot of them are being really strategic with their giving,
Yeah.
focusing on specific needs and long-term recovery.
Exactly.
Look, for example, the wave of corporate giving we've seen.
Okay.
Companies like Netflix, Comcast, Warner Bros.,
Right.
Disney,
Mhm.
they've each pledged a staggering $15 million.
Wow.
Amazon committed $10 million.
Yeah.
The NFL and Snapchat each put in $5 million.
Wow.
This kind of financial support is crucial for organizations leading the recovery and rebuilding process.
I know, it's incredible, right?
These are huge sums of money that can make a real difference.
Absolutely.
And I noticed that Snapchat's founder, Evan Spiegel, is from Pacific Palisades.
Oh,
I wonder if that personal connection played a role in their donation.
that's a great observation.
It's very possible that personal ties to the affected area influence corporate giving decisions. There's also the public image aspect to consider.
Right?
These companies are aware that their actions are being scrutinized, and supporting a worthy cause can be good for business as well.
Exactly.
It makes you think about the motivations behind these big donations, right?
Yeah.
Is it pure altruism, strategic PR, or a combination of both?
It's likely a mix of factors,
Yeah.
and it probably varies from company to company.
Right.
But ultimately, the impact of their donations is what matters most.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now let's dive into some of the individual celebrity efforts that stood out to me.
Okay.
Beyoncé, for instance, donated $2.5 million through her Big Good Foundation.
Wow.
But it's not just the amount that's impressive, it's how she's directing those funds.
How so?
She's specifically targeting families in Altadena and Pasadena who lost their homes,
Right.
as well as churches and community centers that are serving as vital support systems for those affected.
Uh-huh.
It's a really thoughtful approach that recognizes the need for both immediate relief and long-term support.
It is.
It really struck me when I read that
Yeah.
she's not just writing a check. She's really thinking about the long-term needs of these communities.
Yeah.
It's the kind of strategic giving that we were talking about earlier, making sure the aid is effectively directed to where it's most needed.
Right.
And speaking of targeted giving, Eva Longoria is taking a multifaceted approach as well.
Oh, really?
Yes. She donated $1 million, splitting it between the Latino Community Fund and the California Community Foundation.
Okay.
And if you recall, she had previously donated $50,000 to This is About Humanity.
Oh, wow.
Her strategy is interesting because it highlights the importance of supporting organizations that cater to specific communities,
Okay.
like the Latino Community Fund,
Uh-huh.
as well as those with a broader reach, such as the California Community Foundation.
Got it.
So she's covering both the immediate needs and the long-term recovery,
Yeah.
but she's also making sure that aid reaches diverse groups within the affected population.
Right.
It's really smart.
It is, and her efforts, like Beyonce's, demonstrate a deep understanding of how to make a meaningful impact. It's not just about the dollar amount.
Right.
It's about ensuring that the aid is used effectively and reaches those who need it most.
It's almost like a ripple effect.
Mhm.
These celebrities are making these big donations,
Right.
but they're also inspiring others to get involved and contribute in whatever way they can.
Exactly. Their actions have a ripple effect, and that's where their influence truly shines. It's not just about their own contributions. It's about inspiring others to join the cause. And speaking of inspiring others, we have to talk about Jennifer Garner, Meghan Markle, and Prince Harry volunteering with World Central Kitchen.
Oh, wow.
They were actually on the ground distributing meals to first responders and displaced residents.
That's incredible. It's one thing to donate money, but it's another thing entirely to roll up your sleeves and get involved on a personal level like that.
Right.
It's so powerful, and it sends such a strong message of solidarity.
It does. Their choice to participate in hands-on assistance is very impactful.
Yeah.
It demonstrates a genuine commitment to helping those in need.
Right.
And it encourages others to get involved in whatever way they can.
I think it also helps to humanize the crisis.
Sure.
Seeing these well-known figures working alongside volunteers, distributing food, it reminds everyone that this tragedy is affecting real people,
Yes.
real families, real communities.
You're right. It puts a human face on the crisis
Yeah.
and fosters a sense of shared responsibility. And we see this kind of multi-pronged approach with Paris Hilton as well.
Okay.
She launched a $100,000 emergency fund through her 11.11 media nonprofit
Cool.
and pledged to match another $100,000 in donations. Then she volunteered at the Pasadena Humane Society,
Oh, wow.
bringing much-needed attention to the plight of animals affected by the fires.
You know, it's easy to get caught up in the human toll of a disaster like this, but animals are victims too.
Right.
It's really great that she's using her platform to advocate for their needs.
It's an important reminder that the impact of these disasters extends beyond human suffering. Animals are often overlooked in these situations, and her efforts to bring attention to their needs are commendable.
Absolutely. And we can't forget Jamie Lee Curtis, who pledged $1 million from her family foundation for wildfire relief.
Right.
Her contribution is significant.
Yes.
It's especially noteworthy because it comes from her family foundation. It indicates a deeply personal commitment to giving back to the community.
It does.
And let's not overlook Halle Berry and Sharon Stone, who both supported COOP, an organization collecting clothing essentials for wildfire victims.
Right.
Their support, along with countless other celebrities who have contributed in various ways, underscores the collective effort to provide aid and comfort to those affected by this tragedy.
It does.
It's inspiring to see how these celebrities are leveraging their influence to make a real difference.
Yeah.
It really does feel like everyone is coming together to support those who have lost so much. But I'm curious,
Okay.
do you think there are any potential downsides to this level of celebrity involvement? I mean, could it ever be too much of a good thing?
That's a great question, and it's one that deserves further exploration.
Okay.
There's a fine line between raising awareness and overshadowing the efforts of local organizations and everyday heroes who are working tirelessly on the ground.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that those doing the critical work of supporting those affected receive the recognition and support they deserve, regardless of their celebrity status.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
It's great that celebrities are using their platforms to amplify the message.
Right.
But we can't forget about the people working tirelessly behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
Those who might not have millions of followers, but are making a real difference in their communities.
It is important to remember that the recovery process will be long and complex.
Right.
The initial outpouring of support is fantastic, but we need to ensure that the attention and resources continue to flow even after the headlines fade.
It's easy to get caught up in the immediate aftermath of a disaster, but the real challenge is sustaining that support over the long haul. Do you think celebrity involvement can help with that?
It definitely can.
Okay.
Celebrities have the power to keep these issues in the public consciousness, even as other news stories emerge. Their continued engagement can help to ensure that the needs of those affected by the wildfires remain a priority.
It's like they're acting as a bridge between the public and the organizations on the ground, keeping that connection alive, even after the initial shock has worn off.
That's a great analogy, and it's not just about financial support.
Right.
It's also about raising awareness, advocating for policy changes, and using their influence to push for long-term solutions.
It's interesting to think about how celebrity involvement can actually shape public perception of a crisis.
Yeah.
Do you think their actions can influence how people understand the scale of a disaster,
Sure.
or even motivate them to get involved?
I think there's definitely a potential for that. Seeing someone you admire taking action can be incredibly inspiring. It can make people feel like they can make a difference too, even if it's just by donating a small amount or volunteering their time.
I know I felt that way myself. Seeing these celebrities stepping up makes me want to contribute in whatever way I can. It makes the whole situation feel less overwhelming, like we're all in this together.
Exactly. It creates a sense of collective responsibility.
Yeah.
And reminds us that even small actions can have a ripple effect.
And speaking of ripple effects, we've seen some celebrities taking a really hands-on approach, like Jennifer Garner, Meghan Markle, and Prince Harry volunteering with World Central Kitchen.
Right.
What do you think is the impact of seeing these high-profile figures getting involved on such a personal level?
It sends a powerful message. It shows that they're not just paying lip service to the cause, they're willing to put in the time and effort to make a real difference. It also humanizes them, showing that they're not immune to the same emotions and compassion that we all feel when we see suffering.
I think it also helps to break down stereotypes.
Right.
We often see celebrities portrayed as out of touch with reality, living in their own little bubble. But when they roll up their sleeves and get involved like this, it challenges those perceptions and shows that they're capable of genuine empathy and action.
It's a reminder that they're not just celebrities.
Right.
They're human beings who care about their communities and want to make a positive impact.
And it's not just about the celebrities themselves.
Right.
Their involvement can also bring attention to the work of the organizations they're supporting, like World Central Kitchen. They're essentially acting as ambassadors, amplifying the message and reaching a wider audience.
Exactly. Their involvement can shine a spotlight on these organizations, helping them to attract more volunteers, donations, and support. It can also validate the work that these organizations are doing, giving them more credibility and influence.
It's a symbiotic relationship, really. The celebrities benefit from the positive PR and the chance to make a difference, while the organizations benefit from the increased exposure and support.
And ultimately, the people who benefit the most are those who are affected by the crisis. They're the ones who receive the aid, the support, and the hope that comes from seeing so many people coming together to help.
It's truly inspiring to see this kind of collective action. It makes you realize that even in the face of tragedy and devastation, there's still so much good in the world.
Absolutely. It reaffirms our faith in humanity and reminds us that we have the power to make a difference when we work together.
So we've talked about the positive impacts of celebrity involvement, but I'm curious, do you think there are any potential downsides? Are there any risks associated with this level of influence and attention?
That's a great question, and it's one that's important to consider. One potential concern is that the focus on celebrities could overshadow the work of local organizations and individuals who are working tirelessly on the ground. It's crucial to make sure that these unsung heroes receive the recognition and support they deserve.
I see what you mean. It's almost like a balancing act.
Right.
We want to leverage the power of celebrity influence.
Yeah.
But we also need to make sure that we're not neglecting the grassroots efforts that are so vital to recovery.
Exactly. And another potential concern is that the media's fascination with celebrities could lead to a phenomenon known as compassion fatigue.
Oh.
If people are constantly bombarded with images of suffering and pleas for help, they might eventually become desensitized and less likely to donate or volunteer.
That's a really interesting point. It's like the more we see something, the less impact it has on us. It's almost a defense mechanism.
Right.
To protect ourselves from being overwhelmed by the sheer scale of suffering in the world.
Precisely. And it's something we need to be mindful of when we're talking about these issues.
Yeah.
We want to raise awareness and inspire action, but we also need to be sensitive to the fact that people can only absorb so much.
So it's about finding that balance between raising awareness and avoiding overload, between celebrating celebrity involvement and recognizing the contributions of everyday heroes.
Exactly. It's a complex issue and there's no easy answer. But I think the key is to approach it with a critical eye, to be aware of the potential pitfalls while still appreciating the positive impact that celebrity involvement can have.
I completely agree, and I think that's a good place to wrap up our discussion on celebrity giving. We've seen how celebrities are using their platforms to raise awareness, donate money, volunteer their time, and inspire others to get involved.
It's been fascinating to explore the various ways in which they're contributing to the relief efforts and using their influence to make a positive impact.
And it's been thought-provoking to consider the potential downsides of celebrity involvement.
Right.
And the importance of finding that delicate balance between amplifying their efforts and recognizing the contributions of everyone involved in the recovery process.
It's a complex issue with no easy answers, but it's one that's worth continuing to discuss and explore as we navigate the evolving landscape of philanthropy and social responsibility.
It really has been a fascinating deep dive. And, it makes you think about the bigger picture beyond just this specific crisis.
Yeah.
What does it say about our society that we often look to celebrities to lead the way in times of need?
That's a really thought-provoking question. I think it speaks to the power of celebrity culture and the way it's intertwined with our media landscape. Celebrities have these massive platforms and a reach that most of us can only dream of. So it makes sense that we'd look to them for guidance, especially in times of crisis.
It's almost like they become these symbols of hope and action, especially when things feel chaotic and uncertain.
Right. Their involvement can provide a sense of comfort and reassurance. It can make people feel like someone is doing something, that there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
And for the celebrities themselves, it's a chance to use their platform for good, to make a real difference in the world. It's a powerful position to be in, and it comes with a certain level of responsibility, I think.
Absolutely. With great influence comes great responsibility, as the saying goes, and I think most celebrities recognize that they understand that they have a unique opportunity to make a positive impact, and they're stepping up to the plate in a really inspiring way.
It's been incredible to see the generosity and compassion on display throughout this crisis, from the multi-million-dollar donations to the hands-on volunteer work. It's clear that people from all walks of life are coming together to support those in need.
And it's not just about the celebrities, it's about the everyday heroes who are working tirelessly behind the scenes.
Right.
The first responders, the volunteers, the community organizations, all the people who are stepping up to help their neighbors in need.
Exactly. It's a collective effort, and it's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit.
And as we move forward, I think it's important to remember that the recovery process will be long, and challenging the needs of those affected by the wildfires will continue long after the media attention has faded.
So what can we do to ensure that the support continues?
I think it's about staying informed, staying engaged, and finding ways to contribute, even in small ways, whether it's donating to a reputable charity, volunteering our time, or simply spreading awareness. Every little bit helps.
That's a great reminder, and I think it's something for all of us to consider, not just in the context of this specific crisis, but in our daily lives. How can we use our own platforms, however big or small, to make a positive difference in the world?
That's the question we should all be asking ourselves, and I think the answer lies in finding something we're passionate about and using our voices and actions to support that cause.
It's been a really insightful deep dive today. We've covered a lot of ground, from the specifics of celebrity giving to the broader implications of their involvement.
And I hope it's given you, the listener, some food for thought, as we've seen the impact of these disasters extends far beyond the immediate aftermath. The recovery process will be long and complex, and it will require the continued support of individuals, organizations, and communities.
And as we've discussed, celebrities have a unique role to play in this process. They can use their platforms to raise awareness, inspire action, and keep the focus on the needs of those affected. But it's important to remember that they're not the only ones who can make a difference.
Each of us has the power to contribute in our own way, whether it's through donating, volunteering, or simply spreading awareness. We can all play a part in supporting those in need and building a more resilient future.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it informative and inspiring.